am not surprised by any of this. It is
This,
nothing to me. Like this is all. This is this is what. This is what we were
49
gonna like when
minutes.
Phil Spencer came out last May and
Well,
basically said we lost the worst generation we could lose and we're investing in the
we
Xbox
got
ecosystem the way
to
we did. Of course this is going to happen. Of course they're going to bring games to other people. Like I don't know. I just part of me just almost doesn't care like in a way
huh.
like I want games to be in more places,
I
but
should be good
I don't know, them bringing
for
games to other places, yeah, it just
180
doesn't surprise
minutes,
me at all.
I think.
Lono brought
Well,
up a good point. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, let's do 180
no,
minutes.
you're fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, because like Lono, the point that Lono brought up about hardware, I think is really where I want to get everybody's thoughts now.
Frenzy
because
drought,
I argue that they aren't getting
2
out of hardware,
hours.
but here's the real thing.
We'll go ahead and
What
just
does
do
that
another
even mean?
simple
The
prawn
biggest
mill too while I'm
technical
at it.
leap, right? Like one of the things that I've seen Lono
Okay.
rant
Make sure we're
about,
fully
rightfully
buffed
so,
here.
is the marketing behind the Series X and S.
Okay, I think
And
we're
even not even to
good.
push back on some of those points, saying
Think-
like it's also
Wait, what's
I
my
feel like
drop rate?
PlayStation
Let's
5,
see.
like when we saw 3 years into this
So we gotta do
generation
2 of
that frames per
those.
second go from 60 to
Go ahead and
30,
turn this
like it
on.
really kind of feels like what's going on here, right? Where like
I'm
60
gonna go ahead and just
frames
pop one of
is
these
so good, and
because
some people will be
I
like
just
30
need to.
frames is fine. It's like
So,
no, like this is what they
oh
were
yeah, how's
really
my
pushing
pets?
more Microsoft than
Probably
anybody
should get
else
some feed.
this generation. 60 frames, 120 frames. This is 4K, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and expect that a console at $500 is going to do what my computer can do at 5,000. You know, I don't have that disillusion that I see some people like make. But when it comes down to marketing, that felt more marketing to me than anything else because they
Okay,
weren't then ready to kind of tell us
that's
more.
good.
It's the biggest leap in technology. That to me, as somebody who thinks on the technology side, I go, that to me sounds more like they're investing in their cloud infrastructure, which is what Satya Nadella has continued to say, that this is a cloud, we're a cloud company. Xbox is going to be cloud. What do y'all think?
Oh my gosh. If they played some kind of verbiage trick and it's not about the hardware being really strong, because that's what got my attention. I was like, oh, she said biggest leap. I'd have to go back and look at the exact verbiage because,
that's what she said.
if it's the cloud hybrid and that's what they view as the biggest leap because they're going to be able to give you like 4K cloud gaming, oh my.
Yeah,
no.
But think,
exactly.
Lono, think about it, Lono. This is the last, this 2 generations, right? Last generation, this generation, they've had the world's most powerful console. How has that helped them at all in the gaming space? When PlayStation has the better looking games, the better running version of the multiplayer, it hasn't really returned the dividends. And if she's saying, right, like if we
99,
believe what
baby.
she's saying, they're gonna make another world's most powerful console, that's going to fall on deaf ears. Nobody's going to pay attention to that because you've had the world's most powerful console for the last 2 generations.
Unless it's like $800, then I might believe them. Like if it's egregiously priced, then I might actually
3,600.
believe them.
You know what?
But
and guess what? And then they claimed another Xbox Series S type device alongside that.
All right, let's do it.
Leave them
I
in the
think
same situation
we're
that
good.
they are now, right? And so,
well, Ginger and I got into that debate. I
Bo,
can't remember
bo,
if it was
bo,
on an
bo,
Epic
bo.
Loot Radio or if we were just in the comments on one of our videos or whatever. But yeah, I was saying that I think that they need to drop an $800 high-end console that vastly outperforms and costs $100 $200 more than the PlayStation to sort of provide that value proposition. I don't think that they can compete in the same lane as PlayStation. They need to make a device that is high end, that is closer to a PC for the people that want that, because otherwise, in terms of native hardware that runs native games, like what are you offering me as a console maker that I can't get from the other guys? And if you say Game Pass, PlayStation Plus is getting better every day.
It is.
It's getting better every single day.
It's a little bit confusing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, J-Dub.
I was just going to say just these 2 points. When you think of power, Xbox right now has 12 T-flops of power as the world's most powerful console. But then when you look at the games that really make your jaw drop, you look at Horizon Burning Shores. You look at, we just had Death Stranding 2 that everybody was gawking over, right? That's running on a PS5, right? Which is a 9 to 10 T-flop system. So people gawk over those games. They don't gawk over the 12 T-flop games, right? Because the games that generally Xbox shows us, like Hellblade, it looks good. It looks great. But
yeah.
I mean, it's 12 T-flops, and it doesn't really show off the power of the 12 T-flops. And we know it's probably going to get hamstrung like the rest of the games because of the Series S.
I would push back on that. I think Hellblade looks about as good as any video game has ever looked.
According to Digital Foundry, it doesn't.
I I think it's good to take a step back though and to say that this current generation with PS5 and Series X, they're struggling hand in hand too. And there's something to say about that as well. Where the PS5, there was news from Sony just the other day that they're already viewing the PS5 near the end of its cycle, which I don't know what that means at all. But there's something
That
I
was
think
an
middle,
incorrect
I
quote.
think,
That was an
middle.
incorrect quote.
That's not
That
what
was
they
the
said.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was
okay.
it was the middle because we're
Middle.
4 years into this generation, and frankly,
Okay.
generations last between
That's
6
just
to
it's
7
just
years.
factually at.
With them.
Wait, is it 4? Is it 4 years?
We're
I
coming
thought
up
it's
on
only
4.
been 3.
It's
At
been
the end of
3.
this
Well,
year.
it's
At the end of this
2020.
year,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so that's
Yeah.
3 years, Lodo.
Well,
Yeah.
going
No, no,
into
no, no,
yeah,
no.
If
going
at,
into the
if
year
at
4.
the end of this year it's 4 years, that means it's been 3 years. We're at the
Yeah.
beginning of a year. That's
I
how
was
years work.
Right.
I'm crapping on J Dub, not you, Lono.
It depends on the generation, right? A typical generation would be anywhere between 5 to 6 years would be typical, right? But
Yeah.
if we go back in the 360 and the PS3 era, though, it lasted a little bit longer. And I mean,
It depends on the success of the console, right? I mean, and think
then
about
we had COVID, and then we had COVID. That
Yeah.
ultimately, I believe this generation should extend 3 years because those first 3 years, I mean, there was lack of supply and developers got hamstrung. So I don't know. I don't know. We know. You know, 9 times 10, we got a PS5 Pro coming. We got a Switch 2 coming this generation. We got a Xbox Series X all digital coming. Like, I don't know. Where will these things extend the generation to 2028, 2029, perhaps 2030? I don't know.
I think that's important, right? Because again, if the PS5 they admitted sales are struggling, they didn't hit their mark, they're kind of disappointed in it, and I just think that says something about the overall gamers' appetite for what we're getting now from these two players. There isn't a lot of innovation, right? And to your point, Kirk, about having an $800 premium console, I think that'd be a horrible idea for Xbox because those people are going to go buy a PC instead.
Right.
And it makes no sense because the console business is so small too, right? They're much better on creating an ecosystem where they can sell their games on PC and all kinds of other devices. Where that device, I mean, it'd be cool as a tech guy myself. I'd love to have it.
I
But
mean,
just, it would make no business
there's too
sense.
many people that went out and bought an ROG Ally for me to think that to agree with you. I don't agree with you. I think if they make a high
There's only
powered
3.
console,
There's only about 3 million between the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, and the Lenovo.
well, yeah, but then
That would be
you
a
don't
failure.
you don't need to make a bunch of them.
You
Yeah, but
still need-
are you gonna sink all the R&D, $1 billion
Exactly.
worth of R&D just to sell 2 million units?
To that point, would you rather do that or would you rather have other manufacturers take that risk for you and you just
Right.
put Game Pass on there? And again, that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly
But
what
one
they're
thing I want to return to Mark about the comparisons between the two in this generation and struggling. Yes, they are struggling as far as
It's so funny. 54 million is like, oh man, they're
It's
struggling.
not-
Like, man,
that's-
I'd kill to sell 4 million
it's
of
not
anything.
struggling. Yeah. So Sony, PlayStation, by any chance of any stretch of the imagination, is
All
not
right.
struggling at all, right?
Trying to get this
They
combo to
are.
go down.
Matter of fact, what
Trying to
happened
get better
is
with it.
they
We're
projected,
getting there.
which was
Not
far
perfect, that's for
exceeding.
sure.
They were too, I
But-
guess, they were too. I guess they got a little bit too greedy, and
Sure.
they set their projections extremely high, which was 25 million units sold in 2023, and they ended up selling, I think, 23 units. So they're going to miss their projections by 2 million. But the problem is, I mean, which is, I guess, a good problem to have, is that is still far exceedingly more than any PlayStation has ever in history.
Yeah.
That is, matter of fact, they sold more units last year in 2023 than Xbox did the entire generation. That tells you
kinda
how
nuts.
good they're doing. But again, it just like Square Enix, right? They're never happy, even though the game sells 15 million copies, because their projections are just too high, and they just believe that their product is just so good, and they need to do double that. So that's an internal thing. PlayStation doesn't have an issue selling hardware, whereas Microsoft does. They were selling the Xbox Series S for $139 this holiday. They were selling the Series
Hey, I
X
got
for
another Ember.
$349.
Nice, nice,
Basically
nice.
cut the price in half, and they still weren't able to win NPD. They still weren't able to sell out of the consoles, and so that's a big struggle. And the problem is, if you don't have great games, high quality games, and consistently, then people won't buy into your console. But they need people to buy the hardware so they can get the revenue to keep making the game. So it's the chicken versus the egg for Xbox. And I don't know if they'll ever be able to
No, they sell the hardware at a loss. So that's what they're talking about. Is they're saying we're gonna expand beyond the hardware and give people ways to interact with our ecosystem and buy games and play games and invest in in-game stores and things like that. If it's a
But
first
they've been
party
doing
game
that. They've been doing that for the last 2 generations, right? They've been pushing the Samsung TV. They've been pushing the cloud. They've been pushing the cell phones and all this stuff.
we haven't had the tech for that. I mean, that's
Come
why
on.
Google Stadia failed. It's just like
yeah,
it's
but
not.
Game Pass has been a thing since when? 20
18, 17.
They haven't had
something like
xCloud on phones since like it's only been like 2 years.
I think the main point though is they need to have revenue to invest in their platform, and I don't think they look at hardware as the source of that revenue. I think
Right,
they
no.
see the $40 billion PC market, which is I'm pretty sure bigger than the console market, as a way to extend that, and they also see the other half of the console market as a way to extend that as well. And you are right, if you don't have innovative games coming out on your hardware, you're not going to incentivize people to play there. And I think, again, when Phil had that interview in May, I feel like they admitted that they lost the worst console generation to lose in PC, PS4, Xbox One, and they're pivoting while still maintaining some aspect of that Xbox brand.
It just seems like such a half measure, though, like with what we saw today. So yes,
Because you wanted them to double down on.
they have a
going
unique strength, right?
further.
Because when,
Yeah.
like on the last podcast where we talked about it, it's like I don't think Xbox is done. I think they actually like they're just going into the blue waters to fight a whole different fight where this is how things were. And today was not that announcement, in which essentially they just kicked the can down the curb, and that's why I'm frustrated with how they handled it today. But with the question that I cannot rectify, and I get the pushback because this what I'm going to say will generate questions from y'all most likely. But what is the future when you have these devices coming out? Like, yes, maybe the Rogue Ally only sold 3 million, but that's actually a really interesting offering coming in and at a high price for a handheld. But when you have these devices that do play your PC games that can just hook up to your TV, Steam is one of this for a long time. What room, what space, what avenue does the console, essentially a single use kind of device, have in our future when all of a sudden that becomes real competition? Just like we said, like PC games, Sony has already announced there more PC games are coming to the PC. Helldivers 2 is an absolute, I think, must buy, must play kind of game. So if you haven't had a chance to play that game, it is really good. Sony, I think, did a really good job. They're working on some of the issues, but I think overall, like, holy crap, more of that, please, Sony. I think that would be great. But then all of a sudden, imagine somebody's like comes out. I am another manufacturer. They like if they license the operating system from Microsoft, and you could boot up your Rogue Ally. You have your Xbox dashboard. Oh, and then it turns out you can run Steam. Okay, cool. I think that's the wild card. That's the unique advantage that Windows has, that because they have Windows running on the Xbox, but it's a restricted OS. PlayStation tried to categorize the PS3 as a PC, but yeah.
The Xbox has tried, Microsoft has tried that before with the multiple operating systems. They tried it with their Surface tablets with the version of RT and all
ARM
kind of
chips and stuff like that.
Hey, what's up,
This stuff
buddy?
just didn't work. So I just don't know if they'll ever
Just trying to grind some Dark Seekers Retreat.
Be like the perfect thing.
These
put
mobs
the
are
Xbox
crazy
OS on
tanky.
every device and just let that be that. And guess what? You still get your little cut of the fee of the operating system that's sold.
Hope you've been doing well.
And you get the Game Pass that comes along with that device and things like that. I'm gonna be honest. I just for the life of me, I just don't understand how the world's richest company, when it comes to gaming, hasn't figured this stuff out yet. We're like I said, going on 4 years into this particular.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
and they're still trying to find their
the best combo for these mobs.
Us as console gamers invest $500, $600
so
into these consoles,
yeah,
even more with accessories and games and stuff. We invest all this money.
I don't know if you've ever tried the spot, or I probably don't even have the gear for it.
The system launched in 2020. This will see me through 2026, 2027,
it is a
or whatever.
crazy spot.
Invest into that, and a couple of years in, there's all these major changes, and here we are now with some more changes, but they're constantly trying to find out where they want to be and what does their goal, what does that mean to the average gamer, someone like me, right? You're making all these changes and stuff, but how does that stuff benefit me? I don't game in the cloud. I don't game all this stuff.
It doesn't, J-Dub, and if I can jump in, like, all these conversations and all this planning and scheming and strategizing and whatever that is, internally, that's what's come out. That's why all these news articles have happened over the past couple weeks. all of that is sort of angling at taking advantage of this broader new frontier and capitalizing on it, and somehow that making Xbox relevant and prominent again. When the reality is that
Never tried it
PlayStation
yet.
goes
I'm
out
more on
and
pop
makes a
pieces these
box that's
days.
appealing, that's a brand that people trust,
But
that
in real life
people,
stuff
that resonates with people, that they want.
going
It's
on. I'm not very
desirable,
motivated to
it's
play, so I'm about to
sexy
do a
in a
pause on
way. The
BDO. I'll
console,
feel
it
you.
looks
Hey,
sexy. It's not
sometimes
just a
it's good
rectangle
to
black block, you know,
take a
and
break
the games
with this
on it
game.
are,
You know, you gotta treat this game
they're
more of
exclusive,
a
they are special, they are
more of a
premium in terms
marathon
of the
than a
quality,
sprint.
in terms of the availability, the
Plus, the nice thing
accessibility
too
on
is,
other platforms. You can't play it on PC
you know, with
until
this
6 months
game,
to a year
your gear is
later, if at
always
all.
relevant.
You know, that
So
may
even if you
change,
do
but
take a
right
little
now
bit of a
that's the
break,
case. And like, they have stuck to that and just hammered it,
you know, you're
so
still always
hard for
relevant.
like 5, 6, 7, 8 years on.
But
Just
yeah, I
we
completely
do
understand
this,
that.
beating Xbox into
I'm trying to think.
submission.
I think
And
back in
Xbox
like
is trying
uh
desperately to get out from under that palm. They can't do it. Like they think
back
that they
in
can expand
October,
into these new
I believe,
horizons, and that's why they have nothing
I
to
took
say.
like probably
They had
2 months
absolutely
off.
nothing to say today. Like, it basically amounted to, we're still in third place, we still don't have value prop, and we're
But that's
evaluating
also
and
like,
assessing that, and
or
we're
maybe
always
maybe it was
looking for new
November.
ways to make things
So I'm like, hey, I got
more
another Ember.
appealing for
I'm
Xbox
on a roll
gamers
with
and
Embers
pushing
right now.
games. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about
But
that the way they didn't care about it in 2013 when they
I know
got
it
up
was a
there and
couple
said, "Oh,
months
you can do this instead
because
of
Call of Duty was out.
DirecTV
So
on your Xbox." Nobody cared about
I was
that then.
two
It's like they're
in
still repeating the same habits, the same patterns. Gamers want
two involved with
games.
Call of Duty at
Living
the
room
time.
console gamers want games on their box. They want the best games, and they want all the games on the box. And Xbox can't deliver on that, so they're trying to find another way to get into people's living rooms and to get into people's mind share. And I mean, as we saw with Stadia, like, people don't want to make that jump. Not the majority of people. It's just not appealing. People want what they want. And like, PlayStation has established that they can deliver on what people want. And it's a system and it's a methodology that works for them. It's a brand and strategy that works for them. And Jim Ryan got a bad rep, but boy, did he deliver on that strategy, and boy, did he deliver for PlayStation gamers. And Xbox just, they're trying everything that they
Yeah, I agree. I
can
don't
to
really care
sort of
about
take
gear
advantage
since I'm
of
already 700 gear store.
markets that do not have a proof
Yeah,
of concept. They don't have a
yeah.
proof
I
of
think
concept
honestly
yet.
for me, the
And they
biggest
think that they're going to go
motivation
out
for
and prove
me has
that
just
because they went
been
and bought King, and they've
the
got
YouTube
all these,
videos,
resources and all this
and I've been
money.
having a lot more fun
I don't know
with
that
it.
there's this swath of
So,
people
oh
that
gosh, oh
want to take
gosh, don't
advantage
you
of all
die,
that.
don't you
Like, I
die,
think that
don't you
people
die.
want what
Stop,
is
stop,
already
stop, stop.
available on another platform brought to you by another company, that Xbox can't do it as well. And that's just the way that it is.
Well, and the thing that I said as soon as it was over, I was like, if I was a hardcore Xbox fan, I would have not left that podcast feeling very satisfied, because all they did primarily was just repeat the talking points they've said for years. You know, play anywhere,
Yeah, kind of
cross-play,
the YouTube videos
cross-save,
have
Game
really
Pass day and date. And it's like,
sparked my
okay, great. Like,
you know,
you
my
kind of
interest, and also
convinced
just
me
my
these are
interest in
value points
trying
3,
different grind
4, and
spots,
5 years ago.
honestly.
If
So I've
you're
been
trying to
having a blast
affirm
with it
and really
actually.
assert what is Xbox right now, when
I'm really
Sarah
here
Bond said
for this spot
we
right
want
now to try
people
to get
playing
the
on Xbox to feel like they're going to get the
my
world's
boots,
best
because that's like the only thing I'm
games.
really missing
And
right now is the
then she
boots.
just started randomly like bullet point listing stuff like Game Pass and cross progression, and they were like repeating themselves. There was something awkward about it. It was like they didn't have that much to say, because I really do feel they are very much so trotting out the marching orders of Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
And they're trying to push that through that funnel and lens and, PR Xbox talk speak. They're trying to say, well, Microsoft wants us to do this. How in the world do we position this and still sound like Xbox? Like I said, it was the most non-Phil Spencer. I always praise him. I'm like, he's a wordsmith. He's great in interviews. He's got great presence. He's always been so good. And this, I was like, this doesn't feel like Xbox. And it also doesn't feel like Phil Spencer. And it also just didn't feel like they were fermenting this idea or cementing this idea of like, you want to stay with us. It was like, we're going to take 4 games and put them out elsewhere. And then Diablo
Yeah, this spot's
coming to
pretty
Game
crazy though.
Pass. And then chat told me she said the greatest technical leap on
You,
the next
I think
console.
you almost need
Well,
like
that could
1,000
be
AP here
anything.
to
That's
like
not
really
a
be efficient,
performance leap.
and I
so
have
now I'm
nowhere near
thinking,
that.
well, golly,
This
like,
place kind of
I could
lies to
see
you,
them making a
honestly.
killer
Golly gee.
handheld.
Yeah.
I think that there's a handheld market
Oh gosh.
potential growth, like Kirk's saying. It's maybe it's not proof of concept, but I think there's potentially huge growth for handhelds
There is.
in the coming future, and I think Microsoft could be a killer competitor.
Yeah,
in there, 'cause
creating
if they get that
content
Surface team
myself, I
cranked out and
guess.
anything
Trying out new
handheld,
stuff
I
too. I'm
would
just
buy
coming
it.
back some weeks
People
on the
also buy multiple
on the game, doing my
handhelds.
own
Like, that's one of
objectives
the
and
things
pause, and
that
eventually
when I
come
see
back
people
months
praise
later. Oh
Nintendo
yeah, I feel you.
numbers, like I go, yeah, Nintendo,
Yeah.
they're selling great. I'm not dogging on the numbers.
Are
But
there
it's
like any
also
other MMOs that you
there's
like
a
to
hidden
play,
factor in terms of
or
like
any other
how many
games?
gamers are actually that. I own multiple Nintendo Switches. Now I would have only owned one Nintendo Switch if it hooked up to the television, but because it's a handheld, just like with the DS and the Game Boy and before, I buy multiple of their handhelds, and so them and Xbox go in that direction. But then the question is what does that then do differently that I can't get from the Rogue Ally or the Steam Deck, which actually then plays games that
Yeah, I feel
aren't
like for me,
available
it's
to
only
me.
been like
Why step into
BDO
that market
and then Call
and
of
then
Duty. I
come
feel like it's
in
really the
to
only
both
two
hands
games I've
tied
really
behind your
been
back?
into.
Yeah.
I do want to, before I lose my train of thought, I
go ahead.
do want to try and spin some analysis out of this absolute dust bowl tumbleweed of a 22-minute nothing podcast and pull something out of my ass.
Okay.
Which is that, again, to harken back to, I want to draw a parallel with the 2013 announcement and how damaging that was to the Xbox brand. The idea that they were going to become about more than the traditional sort of narrow scoped idea of gaming, that they were going to branch beyond that, and that was going to be appealing. That was going to be something that was going to be in demand, that people wanted for whatever reason, and it wasn't. Like, the entire gaming populace, at least console gamers, pushed back on that, and they said we're not interested in that. And the Xbox brand suffered irreparably. And so what changed? I went on a whole, monologue about this last week, which is the only reason why anybody might actually know who I am. Is that what changed was in 2020 or 2019, I can't remember, when the consoles were about to come out, they started changing their messaging, and Phil started talking directly to gamers and talking directly to the maligned, aggrieved Xbox base and saying, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to buy a Bethesda, we're going to compete, we're going to make some great games, we're going to make Fable, we're going to make Hellblade 2, we're going to make Halo really good, we're going to put Starfield exclusive to our platform, we're going to make sure that that's the game of the generation. We're going to do all these things. We're going to get back in this race. We're going to it'd be like every year in
Oh,
football or whatever your favorite sport is, people who are watching, it's like, this is our year. Dallas Cowboys fan, this is our year. We're going to the Super Bowl, right? Like, let's go. And you need that. Like, if you just lose constantly, the morale just sinks. And so their messaging changed, and it was about we're gonna get back to basics. We're
you could
gonna
try
make
running full elixir
good
rotation spot,
games
but
that are gonna come
so you
on our
can find all the
platform,
needed
and it's gonna
elixirs, something
make
like
our
15, or
platform
really something like
desirable. It's gonna make
15.
our platform a good experience, a good
Oh,
product to have.
15
That's what we're gonna
elixirs.
deliver on. You
See,
can
it's
expect
actually
it.
kind of funny. Like,
Post market, we're
I have
come buy our
never,
console.
I don't think
We're
I've
gonna
ever used an
deliver on that.
elixir.
And now,
Like
2
I've
years
used
later,
the
they failed. Okay, they failed. Let's not get it twisted. They failed. Redfall,
the
one of the worst games to come out
like frenzy droughts,
from first party Xbox ever, especially if we're talking
perfumey
like
So glad
courage,
you clarified first party.
the
because
tent
then I was
buff,
like,
but
we're
actually I've
getting a
never
lot of other
used
stuff.
This
elixirs.
isn't Kong Skull
That just seems like a
Island,
lot of
right?
work.
this isn't Lord
But
of
I
the
guess,
Rings
to
Gollum.
reach the caps and to be like the most
It's in
efficient,
conversation with those
elixirs
games,
would probably
which is
would be
ridiculous.
really
The
needed.
way that
But I
game
wonder
was
like
being
how
chopped up,
much
the
like more
way that
money you
they
could
were
potentially
showing
even
trailers of that
make
game like it was going to
once
be,
you like
the
add all
second
that
coming
into the
of, I don't
facts,
know,
or to like into the
Borderlands meets
factors,
Stranger Things or whatever. And then Starfield comes out and it's fine. Like, it's middling. It's fine. It's an 8. A lot of people gave it a 7. I think it's an 8. But, it's not pushing the boundaries that they claimed it was going to. And then after those two, like, that's it. That's all they had. Like that. Like, it's like they went 8 and 8, and they're like, we should just trade all our players and go, 1 and 16 next year. I mean, it doesn't make any. They're just pivoting right back to the
I'm going for the
2013
401
messaging
DP
of,
myself
we'll
for the
try other
tankiness.
stuff.
Yeah, these plays, believe it or not, they don't actually hit that hard. Now, I know that they changed it like recently, like about a month and a half ago, and they've made it, I think, a little bit easier. But
like go do something else and offer some sort of other alternative value proposition that nobody wants. If those people want that, they're on PC already.
Right.
Like the brand of Xbox, the Xbox was created in the vacuum that exists because Sega could not stay in that
But
space.
yeah.
It's created because Microsoft was afraid of Sony being under the television and dominating.
It'd be nice once I get the boots.
That was why.
What's happening right now? What is happening right now? And what can Xbox do?
But yeah, surprisingly, they don't hit me. They don't hit too hard. I mean, they definitely can kill you for sure if you're not being careful.
The flaw in your logic is that you
Boom,
assume
boom,
that Sony
boom.
is then doing the thing when I would say Samsung and smart TVs literally just they aped what the consoles and what Sony and Xbox were going to do. Not that they're like I'm dogging on any of their sales. I'm just saying that the technology and the generations.
Future.
No, it's not the future. It's literally right now.
In the future, Xbox will matter again.
Why did the PlayStation 2 and why is the PlayStation 2 still the biggest selling console?
You have 15 different elixir running that really boost one specific stat each that all together make you.
And let's put you back to school.
Plus, you can add a perfume or courage or
and
anything.
smart TVs. No,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here making an argument that
Whew,
I'm
that's a
definitely
lot.
making.
It's so crazy.
YouTube, the Netflix, all of
To
your
be like
apps and
really like
television and all that stuff
insanely
is
efficient and
now on
crazy.
your TV now. It literally apes what the Xbox originally.
But I've seen a couple like grind videos at the spot and
like installed through the
yeah,
old consoles, especially
like
on the 360
it's so
and the
crazy. This
PlayStation
one
3 era.
striker,
That's when
I
that
wish he would have
bolt took off.
shown his
But then TVs, which they tried to push
his
TVs into
stats.
this 3D TV, and everybody's like,
But like
that's
his
stupid.
AP
And then
here
essentially
was
they went with, oh, smart
305. Now
TVs,
again,
that's
I don't know
what
what his
people want.
hidden
They want,
stats were,
really nice pictures,
but
really
like
nice
he
screens.
showed
Turns out it does all these things.
everything that he was
That
running,
then
and
takes
essentially
away
he was
one of the big
running
selling points. Like, why is the PS2 one of the highest selling consoles of all time?
pretty much.
It is the
I'm missing
highest,
two crystals. I don't have two
DVD
crystals
player.
yet, but I have pretty much the same crystal set up.
The only reason that and
The
bringing this up, that's PlayStation. Yes, it is the number one most.
The red herring.
But the only reason because that
yeah, the same crystal. Like he
console
used
itself sold for 13 years.
pretty much the only thing he really used
Sold
at the
for
spot
13 years.
was
Produced that console for 13 years.
oh gosh,
other
no,
generation has lasted
no.
that long, and no other device has lasted that long, right? So of course you won't get to that point. Maybe Nintendo Switch, right? If they keep it around another year or
Use a
two,
full elixir,
it may
few spots,
reach
and then
that and
frenzies
surpass it.
enough.
But
Yeah.
that console has to do that.
Yeah, but like the one video I
let's think
watched
about
on
it. The
YouTube for a
PS5
striker,
surpassed
just
the
grinding for 1
PS2,
hour,
the PS3, and
he
the
only
PS4
used
at
a
this particular
frenzy,
time. So if we keep
a
on this
perfume,
trajectory and this
Bell's
console
Heart,
lasts for 10 years,
the
they'll probably
tent,
reach
and then the
150
church
price.
buffs, and that's pretty much all he used.
goes
And
longer.
he was pulling, he was
Price is
not
gonna be
even
a real
using
stick, though.
Agris,
The
which is
only
even
way
kind of
the
crazy.
PlayStation
And he was
can
pulling
double
like
in the middle
10,000
again
trash, which is
in
kind of
terms
nuts.
hitting some kind of massive mass market price, of which like their goal is they make money on the sales of the consoles, which is like honestly, but that's what I said. I just say they did.
First year.
But I'm saying that like in order for like PlayStation to really try to continue to keep this level of acceleration, like that's where usually that's you see other models come out, which reduces their overall cost, sees their price comes down. And right now, like especially with inflation and things like that, that's another thing that's pushing and keeping the price from truly falling, because as everything is going up in price, technically these systems are actually getting cheaper, but people are feeling pinched and people are feeling absolutely like game. Now, one of the things about technology, going back to Kirk's points, because there is some future technology that when they talk about
Poor
the
guy.
next biggest leap in technology, the only two things that come to my mind are AI and with
Is he crying?
cloud. And so if we're talking about them putting in AI generation chips that are going to help do whatever, NVIDIA showing this stuff off.
Don't want cloud and
Kinda.
AI.
I think that's a generational thing, Kirk, because when you
Hopefully he
start
doesn't
looking
have
at
a
what
rough
Apple's
night.
doing with their handheld, and the fact that like I was talking with 30 last night on his podcast, shout out to 30 and Still Gaming. He plays his X Cloud, his Xbox games on his Meta Quest 2.
Surprise.
Which
Yeah.
is like, it's
Yeah, I
already
changed
processing
like that's pretty much all I
it's
did
great.
yesterday.
That
I spent like
ultra-massive
6 billion
screen
on crystals
playing these
yesterday,
games, having a great
and
time.
it's
And so it's I think
insane how much of a
when we
difference
talk about the
crystals
future
can make.
tech,
Like it's
I
crazy,
think will be
dude.
a generational divide where people, just like they're saying, I'm never going to go digital. I'm going to have physical media. And then at some point, like there's going to be a hard drawn line in the sand. I think essentially at some point, like, yeah, one of these consoles will, or both, maybe even the PS6 will be an always online console because they're going to tap into cloud compute to keep costs down. So they don't have to sit here and say, oh, we don't have to put like all of the stuff physically in there, but we're going to make sure we have cloud compute so we can compete in price.
That's a great point because I want to go back to what Kirk said when Kirk said no one wants that. Microsoft wants that. And I want to revisit a few great points.
Supply and demand. Supply and demand. There's no demand.
Kirk, listen here. Okay, so Jay, you brought up a great point, which is that Microsoft's one of the most profitable companies in the world, right? And the gaming aspect of that profit is minuscule. So you have to say, well, what's the core competency of a company like Microsoft? It is cloud infrastructure, it is networking, it is that type of technology. Any business segment internally is going to try to follow that model, subscription service and all of that. So that's why I think, Brian, you're spot on, and it's easy to read the tea leaves, is because to them, they want that business model to be similar in terms of what gaming is to the rest of the market. And they have so much infrastructure and footprint. They can make that technological leap into the gaming space. It's already everywhere else. I'm a cloud architect.
Sure,
That's
sure,
what
they
I
could
do.
it. They could do it, but we'll get. Here's the thing: they could do it, right? But are gamers partaking now? Like Microsoft hasn't even mastered the art of just creating great games, right? So
Yeah, if you have the
it's
artifacts
true.
with the good sets on it, it's something
It's true.
else.
I'm going to be honest.
That
Think
is
about it. Like
true.
as
Yeah,
a
I know
long-term
that Striker did have those
experiment,
artifacts as well.
Mastered. They should try and do it once.
For the last
Yeah, I
few
think a lot of
generations,
guides that
they
I
have
was
not been consistent in good
looking
quality
at, it said
software.
that you need
The
at least like
only
1,000
the good
hidden
trust the
AP.
good trusties, right? The Halo, Gears, and the Forza have been the only consistent, high quality type things. And even this generation is when going downhill, right? This Forza is the lowest.
Horizon 5 is incredible. Like they do have bangers, but yeah.
The Horizon series, I can actually see them killing off the Motorsport series, right? They just, it's for whatever reason, they haven't mastered that, and the Microsoft is all over the place in all these different buckets, and these guys come out on the stage. Yeah, we want to go for the game over here and the game over there and the game of this, and then we want to do all this stuff and cater to PlayStation, cater to Nintendo. You can't even cater to your base, right? You can't even fulfill them and what they wanted. What they really wanted was just like Kurt said, they wanted a competitive to the PlayStation, where PlayStation has its single player games that are goaties and that are consistent high quality, and they're just the throne of what PlayStation is. Xbox doesn't have that anymore. You used to have it with the Halo, Gears, and the Forza.
And maybe if they get their head right, their mind right, their strategy right, they'll deliver on Marvel's Blade, keep that exclusive if Disney will let them. It'll be a smash hit if they get out of the weeds of all this other stuff, that they just make good games and sell your platform based on the fact that there's good games on it.
So,
No, Phil said it. Phil said it. We're going to see fewer and fewer exclusives. Like, I don't think,
and we're going to see fewer and fewer Xboxes in people's living rooms.
Well, they don't care about that.
Yeah,
I think the point is that the console market is not growing. We've hit our plateau as a market. So Xbox is saying,
Yeah,
we need to go
I
where
mean,
there are people currently not playing games, whether it's through cloud, whether it's through TVs, mobile,
yeah,
etc. Now, I do
I
think
mean,
there's a danger
I haven't
there
owned a console in
because
so
I
long.
don't know if that market, if people are currently not a gamer, I don't know if you're going to convince them to be a gamer with cloud gaming through their television or gaming on mobile. Now, they're going to make money off mobile because we know King Mobile prints money, and that's going to be a great revenue stream for them. But I don't know if they're going to grow their actual MAU market share in those pockets. It's like, I don't know if you're going to suddenly have a ton of new active users in the Xbox user base because you threw Halo on a TV or a cloud. Those people aren't gaming now. So I don't know if
what's interesting about those people,
invisible people.
Well, they're not. They are visible, and they are real.
I don't think.
I want to go to Mark because you're going to make a point, but then I want to come back to
Also the AP caps are still like 340. So just with that, you can push a lot even after 309. The bonus AP buffs are smaller. Yeah, it's a good point.
They're just former gamers. They're just gamers who used to be us, and then essentially were like, life got in the way and they got busy, and so they don't game, and then all of a sudden, yeah, like doctors and lawyers, like a lot of people were like playing Stadia in the hospitals because it became available, and they're like, this is great, this is what I want. I don't have the time to go and invest money into an ecosystem. I just want to be able to jump onto the latest, game because I miss that, and that's what they want. Mark, I want to go
But
to
the
you.
problem with
So I don't think cloud gaming is, they're expecting it to be the biggest portion of revenue in the future. I think first and foremost, they just care things are profitable, right?
Mhm.
So I think all the points being brought up are accurate, right? Like, yeah, they know for a while that they don't make the best games compared to the caliber of games that come from Sony or Nintendo. That's why they spend billions of dollars buying IPs, right? And I think that's for two reasons. One, to help incentivize people who might be on the fringes that want to play on their phones or want to play on cloud gaming, but also it helps stabilize revenue when they want to bring those games to other platforms. So Lono, I think you and I are aligned. We're like, I don't know. I don't think they truly care in the long run if the Xbox console is around as the premier console. They care about the Xbox business being profitable, and they're going to do that through a variety of ways, whether it's bringing games and publishing them on other consoles, whether it's attracting people with those big IPs to other ways to play, which I personally, I don't have an incentive to want to play cloud gaming, but I could see how other people are. My nephew's 17, my other nephew's like 10. They do that stuff, right? And that's where gaming grows. That's where it grows all the time. And if you want to grow into a market, you have to focus on that. So again, I don't think I'm
And
disagreeing
depending on
here with anyone,
spots,
but
sometimes you
again,
need more accuracy
I
than
think they have to get
AP, like
IPs.
the
That's why they
crypt.
bought them. I don't think they want
Yeah,
to
it
take it
makes me
out, try to
also
perfect that
wonder
development
if
cycle.
I wonder if I have
think
enough
COVID and
accuracy
Jacob,
for the
as you
spot
said, has
too.
hurt everyone for a while
Like
too.
that could
Like
also be a
Sony said, they're not
factor.
coming out with any new
And
first party
actually,
games until
I don't even
2025,
think I
maybe,
have the like
which is
these
a little bit of
mobs
a
here
gap
at
for us
S
too that
tier
we're
yet.
concerned about. But yeah,
So,
in the
I
future,
think I know
they
not
care about
having
profitability
knowledge
to the
can
Xbox business,
also
and
help
that's
kill the
beyond
mobs
consoles.
faster.
That is
I'm pretty
revenue from
sure.
games on other consoles. That's revenue from games everywhere else, whether it's subscriptions or just sales from other units.
Did you guys catch that Sarah Bond said 34 million for Game Pass subscribers? Now I'm assuming she was including the new in like there was a new injection from Xbox Core, Game Pass Core, because they
That's what
converted
she
all
got.
those.
the people
They-
that have live, they're counting the people that have live.
Well, now hang on. She said 34 million after she was talking about Diablo coming to Game Pass. So I'm wondering if it's not just going to hit Game Pass, are they also going to add it to the Xbox Game Pass core catalog so that they can say, hey, yeah, 34 million people can now play Diablo 4? Because when she threw out the 34 million, I thought, I know they had a big influx from Starfield, so we know it jumped there. We don't know if it jumped and stayed, but they also got an influx from Xbox Live. Yes, I don't know if there was 9
they might
million
add it to
people.
core because we haven't had any additions to core, right?
For sure,
just
and it
the
makes good
starting
sense
set.
to. Yeah, it's a good game to add to core. It's an ABK game. It's a live service game. Like I think it's a. I think that announcement was them. They're like, we got to give these people something because we're
Yes.
telling them
Right.
we're taking property and putting it elsewhere. Like, what are we going to give to our people? I think they had to do that.
Just the hidden
Which
AP
it's a,
cap is
it's a
huge. I
good
don't think it's
announcement.
actually
Like
one.
that's
You can
literally
check on
the best
Garmock though.
game that they
Yeah,
published
Garmock probably
all
does have a
year.
little stat
A
thing.
better announcement would have been Call of Duty. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Like, if they came and they said ABK, yes, is
in
coming.
terms of like mass appeal, but in terms of what is actually the better
Majority of
game,
the people
it's
play
Diablo.
Warzone anyway. They don't play.
Right,
Yeah,
but
true.
imagine that there's an
Well,
integration there. Then all of a sudden, if you're a part of Game Pass, and then you get special whatevers within the wars, like it just those kind of integrations, I think, are a very strong power play, and we see that same kind of play that Amazon Prime uses. We're giving out like, hey, if you got this, then we're just going to give you all this other stuff, and it's nothing burgers. It's just like but it's still kind of like, oh, all right, that's nice. I get a little treat.
Yeah,
There.
I mean it's not a bad spot.
Diablo 4
I just
could
wish I
be
was killing him a
huge
little
for
bit
them.
better. But it's
Well,
nice
also
that the
for the
agris
Xbox
aspect
like Lano said,
is actually really
they snuck
good.
it
Like
in
they
there
almost use
as
like
a,
no
you
agris at
gotta
all.
give these guys something. There should have been a huge announcement around that, not just it just kind of came
It's
out.
always reactive. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like that would have been huge, saying, "Hey, for the month of March, Diablo 4 is now in Game Pass, and it's huge." That could have been their big, okay, wow type moment, right? A positive. But now it's like, oh, you only told us that because PlayStation is getting 4 games, and we don't even know what 4 games are those now. Now, granted, it could be the smaller games that nobody want to play anyway, but it also could be 1 or 2 big games that they wanted to hide and they wouldn't dare be in front of cameras playing those games because they don't want even more backlash that they're already going to get. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll be
The month of
honest, at this
March
point in
is
time,
the month of March is for playing Suicide Squad, right, Mark?
Oh, that better than
I think Ash Force is such a cool place.
I was like,
So
all right.
I haven't played it yet.
I've never
Well,
been
we're
there.
talking
I
about-
mean, I've
we're
seen
talking about it one
videos,
day.
but I've never actually
Comment again, going
personally
about
been
just
there. But like,
profitability of the
it just
Xbox
seems like
business
such a
too.
cool
I-
place to
again,
like maybe grind.
They now own Call of of Duty, which is the third highest.
Like, I definitely
grossing
would love to
video
check
game
out
franchise ever.
Ash
And they now
Forest at
own
some
World of
point.
Warcraft, which is the 10th. Now, World of Warcraft in the future, I don't know.
Like that
But
will be a fun
again,
time when I
I don't
go
think the Xbox
over there
business
and
is going
check
to
it
struggle,
out
but I will
for the
admit,
first
I don't
time.
think consoles are going to compete against PlayStation one for one at any point. And I don't think internally they expect that either. Now, the messaging hasn't been great, but I still think the tea leaves are pretty clear just when you patch everything together with where things are going.
I hate pin
Speaking of
devos
bringing
already
games
since
that
we only have a few
Xbox
whales to buy
owns
crons.
to
Oh
subscription
yeah, I'm
platforms,
sure.
I got to set
I don't think
my
I'll ever
boy
get
Fake
a
News
debo,
Chub City
honestly. Like,
straight for posting
I'm not sure if I'll
all
ever
up
see
on
that in my
Twitter with his
future.
boy J Barry Stripe. Xbox brought Outer Worlds to PS Plus. Xbox is
Like,
bringing all their
I don't know. I could just care less
IP to
about
PS
trying to go for
Plus
that item.
now.
I'm
Those
definitely not
That-
going to
that's
enhance it.
absolute
Like, screw that.
bullcrap, fake news, and you know it. That Private Division, which is a Take-Two company, owns the rights to the Outer Worlds because they have the publishing rights to that game because it was before the acquisition that Xbox made of Obsidian. So yes, Xbox owns Obsidian as a studio, but they have no say over where Private Division puts that game and if Private Division puts that game in PlayStation Plus, which they probably didn't want to. And there's a whole controversy about that game and the Spacer's Choice Edition, which is like the complete edition, but apparently it's worse than the actual original game. But Private Division put that out as like a money grab because they control the publishing rights. That's how publishing rights work. So all you guys
Yeah, Ash
posted
Force is
all over
pretty
Twitter,
chill
oh,
with your gear
yeah,
if you want to try
every
out someday.
Xbox
Yeah.
game is coming to PS
Yeah, I
Plus
definitely want to
now
try it
because
out.
Xbox
I
probably
think
put
I
Outer
think for
Worlds
my
on
next
PS Plus.
video,
Xbox probably hated that game went to
I'm gonna
PS Plus, so
probably
they didn't have
do
any part of
this
that
spot,
decision.
obviously.
if
Darkseeker's
Xbox
Retreat,
got
since I'm
full
already here.
argument, it's still
Probably just do
exclusive
like a
to
video on this spot.
their company owns it and it's theirs, and now it's on
And
my platform. I'm going to run with it. If
But
that's what
Xbox
it is.
had
probably
nothing to do with that
do
decision. They have no.
Right. Well, say
a
the reciprocity.
I think my next video after that's gonna be
They put MLB the Show on Game Pass.
I just know it's on my PS5.
Orcs. I think I want to do
J
a
Fake
video on
News City,
Orcs.
that's what I would call you.
If we're gonna call people out, speaking of PS5, let's go back to when Kirk referred to.
And
his
then maybe I'll check
PlayStation
out
as
Ash
serene.
Forest after Orcs. So maybe in a couple weeks I'll do Ash Forest. Because I think that's such a cool spot. Like, I've always wanted to try it out, and I felt like I've never had the gear, but now since I do,
You gotta admit it's better than
I
the
can
single
check it
player.
out.
I like
And I
it.
felt like
It's
before
yeah,
it's always been kind of irrelevant, but I've heard ever since with like Dekia, it's actually relevant now.
On your horizon.
Yeah, there you go. The aesthetic appeal.
There's not a single
I do
current
want the
home
devos
game.
because
Like, come on,
now
these
you get the
PlayStation
set.
games
That is
is,
true. It
you
does
know,
give you 12
something.
more AP, which is kind of nutty.
Girl.
It's actually a really good point.
This is getting weird. Like,
I don't know.
You
I
wanna
just
see the rise of my Ronin.
that's enough.
it just
That's
seems like
enough.
such a
That's-
crazy like
So aesthetically, I agree. The PlayStation has
I don't
something
know,
to it.
like far out of
Functionally, though,
reach
the
for
form
me.
factor of the Xbox is better because I'm always worried my PlayStation's gonna break. Like it just doesn't seem
Like I still have
as
to do my pin
convenient sometimes
accessory,
when I move it to my computer or
the second
to
one.
my
It looks like a Wi-Fi router. It's ugly. Like
If I didn't spend all my money on my
I'm-
crystals, I
I'm
probably
with
could
you,
have been able to
Lyle.
do it.
I'm with
J-Dub,
you,
I
Mark.
wish I
I'm
could
just
play my
like,
video games on a Chromecast.
Do you know, are there any special
I actually think the
mechanics
series
at this
X
grind
looks
spot?
nice.
Like I've
They
tried to
put
look it
on
up
an entertainment
online,
stand. It
but
kind of blends in. It's matte black.
it's
It's
I
great.
couldn't really
perfect.
find
Like,
anything.
the
Like I think ever
PlayStation 2,
since
like,
they
what's that
changed
decor
it
match? It
like a
like you
month
said,
and a
it looks
half
like a
ago,
Wi-Fi
they've just made it
router
a little
from
bit
like
easier.
the early 2000s. It's ugly.
Linksys.
Apparently
Going back to
some
cloud,
like
though,
there's like a
like Amazon
is it like an
Luna, they
eternal
can't get it to
dark
work
seeker
or
can
be
appear
appealing.
like
Google
randomly.
Stadia couldn't get it to work or be appealing.
I mean, it hasn't
Like,
happened to me yet,
just
but
because Xbox has money, just because Xbox has money and they suck at doing everything else as good as PlayStation can,
like,
they're
I don't think
somehow
there's
gonna make this work.
I don't think I've seen any
I
like
don't know.
specific
Xbox
mechanics at
xCloud
this
is one of
spot.
the weakest offerings right now, in my opinion, because it is only Game Pass games that are being offered. PlayStation as a cloud now has the ability that it's your games. Now, it's not all of them because there is technical work that's going on behind the scenes to make this happen. But the counter argument to that is GeForce Now, lagless, lossless, 120 frames a second, 4K, ultra wide. That's how I game. That's how I game and stream. And this in and of itself is like incredible. And then all
Yeah,
I,
if you focus on one big on the pack, it kills the pack if I remember well.
Then they're screwed.
No, it's not that. It's that they actually Xbox allows GeForce
Yeah,
Now
like
under
essentially
Xbox.
one of these. If you kill one of
Exactly.
these quicker, it
Right.
kills all the
It
other
gets
ones
all of
quicker.
Xbox games if they enable that feature too. If PlayStation 5 just says, "Hey, there's a GeForce Now app on your little dashboard here," and then you just fire it up, you're now playing Halo Infinite, which announced today. You're now playing Diablo 4. Well, you already have that already on your platform. Whatever, Horizon, like all of that is there, and there's no extra porting or necessary needed. But the pitch is that you're also having a high-end gaming PC experience without all the gaming PC challenges that a lot of console gamers don't want. They don't want to manage their drivers. They don't want to have to worry about if a game is playable or not. They don't want to have to worry about all these massive updates and hard drive space. Well,
Like I remember
consoles got
grinding
that
here
problem right
before,
now, and that's going to be something
and
interesting to see how they solve that in the next
it
generation.
definitely. I
But
feel like
there's a
it's
big
much better
value
now. A
there,
little bit
and I
more.
can tell
Oh,
you,
whoa, whoa,
when I
whoa, whoa,
look at
whoa,
the
whoa,
next
whoa! Hey
generation
there,
that's
hey
coming down the
there.
pipe, most of them are all
Whoa,
actually
what you doing
gaming
now?
in the
Don't try to
cloud.
kill me.
My
That's
kids
not cool.
spend
Don't kill me
95%
now.
of their time on X Cloud because it plays all of these different games, and that's the value add to me as a parent. Is it going to be mass market? I don't know. I don't think it's going to replace the console or the need for hardware. I think it's just going to become something that people have the option to use when they want to use
Whew.
it. But
I
the
definitely have
real
gotten
thing
close
I think is going to be the
to
case is the
dying.
always online cloud
That is for
compute.
sure.
Because when I look at the cost of hardware and the cost of these development things, I go, how do you have that price point where we know we've seen this when PlayStation launched at 600? Yes, 600 then is a lot less than it is today. But if they still come out of like, that's why you see consoles have this like price point, because at some point, if you push too high, you have people just like my nephew that, well, that's exactly what my nephew said. He was like, all right, I've saved up $500. And it's like, oh, but if I save up $300 more,
I get a nice
I'll
PC.
just get a
You know what
PC.
keeps you going from?
Yeah.
But you know what keeps people going from PC, and this is, I guess, almost a knock on Xbox, is that at this point Xbox doesn't have any exclusives, so people can go any and everywhere, right? But if you want to play the new God of War, or if you want to play the new Spider-Man or the Wolverine or any of those games that they
You want
have
to play
coming,
Stellar Blade?
you're gonna have to.
PlayStation.
Yeah, you gotta buy a PlayStation.
End of story. You want to play Stellar Blade in April? Go buy a PlayStation. Like what do you going and buying a PC and an Xbox for?
Guess what? You got a
Rise of the Ronin,
I'm
PlayStation.
buying it to
Like,
play
what do you want
BDO.
those other
Come on
games
now.
for?
Microsoft has zero exclusives.
That's what I'm
They've
buying a
had zero
PC
exclusives
for.
for a very long time.
BDO.
That's why, like,
But
with
that led them to the problem that they're having right now.
is
right?
it like, I get that like if the goal is to sell consoles, it's a problem. But I agree with Lono. I don't think they give a crap if they're going to sell a console or not. They like, it's like
they may not care. They may not care. But as a gamer and a console guy who spent $500 or $200 or 300, however much, to buy into the Xbox ecosystem, and their promises that this will be the best place to play, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I don't think they.
You good luck to finish you. I'm gonna head out to bed now.
You see, like,
Hey man, thanks.
I
Appreciate
would
it.
just say
Thanks
Gran
for stopping
Turismo
by
and
and chilling
Link is
with
a
me.
really
Hope you have a good
option,
night,
right?
and
Like, it doesn't
I hope in
come
real
out
life
and announce
stuff
that it's, like,
is going well
exclusive, but
for
it's
you.
on
And
PlayStation and PC.
take a
Great.
nice
I'm
good
so glad that
break
it's doing
from
as well as it did.
BDO.
But
You
why
definitely
isn't it on
deserve it.
Xbox? And so PlayStation,
Yeah,
time and
like I
time
said,
again,
your
this
gear will always be
generation and
relevant.
into
So,
last generation,
but yeah,
there's
thanks
a
for
lot of
stopping by.
games that
Hope
come
you
out
have a good
that
rest of your
they aren't
night and a good day
announcing like
tomorrow.
it's exclusive to
For me, it's the
PlayStation. It
weekend.
just doesn't
Yes,
come to the
so
Xbox at
excited.
all. And
Cannot
so
wait for
you
tomorrow
take that and you extrapolate over
to
to
be
time.
over, and then
Why
we have the
why would I
weekend.
choose the ecosystem?
And they're gonna double down on that and give PlayStation their games.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's the thing to consider too, and I talked about this the other day when everybody got really upset at these rumors and they canceled Game Pass, turned their Xboxes in. I said, well, you don't really have any buying power, and you also aren't building a digital library. And this is something that I think Xbox has to consider about their future. When Phil Spencer says we lost the worst generation to lose because everybody was building their digital libraries, the real kicker right now is nobody's building a digital library on Xbox if they're on Game Pass. And that's what Game Pass does, is it creates this, you're not building a library. It's really easy to leave because all you're leaving behind is a subservice. And if they continue to put their first party titles day and date on Game Pass like they said they are, I just think they're making their platform very easy to walk away from because you do not have this library. You're not building a library right now. And then what purpose does an exclusive serve? Like what? What's the point of the exclusive if it's literally just so somebody can rent it on Game Pass? Like you're not building a library which creates loyalty. So that's why I think it's inevitable that these first 4 games go. They look at the ROI and then they start moving other titles because it's like the old playbook of using exclusives to drive people to your box and to get people to stay. Game Pass has absolutely poured acid on that strategy because you are not building a library, which means it's really easy to say, I'll go somewhere else. And once they go somewhere else and start building up that digital library, whether it's PC with Steam or PlayStation, you've lost that customer. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true though, because if PlayStation did it, people would stay in the ecosystem because it's literally we get Rise of the Ronin in March and then we get Stellar Blade in April. Like there's a cadence, and we get Final Fantasy VII this month. So Final Fantasy VII in February, Rise of the Ronin in March, Stellar Blade in April. Like Xbox has never even Xbox has never even remotely approached that cadence ever. Like so, yeah. Of course, if
those are all third parties.
Lono,
because
to your point, if there's 3 games that I play on Game Pass that are exclusives because they're part of the Xbox Game Studios, ecosystem or whatever, yeah, I play those 3 games and then I walk away. But if you just keep hitting me with value and value and value and good games, premium experiences, quality, 8s and 9s and 8s and 9s, like Phil is wrong. Like if they made 9s and 10s, people would be involved with Xbox.
No,
but
wouldn't.
They don't make 9s and 10s. They make 7s and 8s. Nobody gonna move or do anything for a 7 and 8. And yeah, they go play the 7 or the 8, and then they cancel their Game Pass because they can go back to their PlayStation and play good games, better. They can play Spider-Man on PlayStation. They can play God of War Ragnarok Valhalla for free if you already have the game. They can play Death Stranding 2, best looking game you've ever seen in your life on a console. Like that, like of course they're gonna stay. Like Xbox is a detour. Like Xbox is like, you know what, honey? Let's not go out for that restaurant that we really like that we always go to on date night. Let's go for Chinese or for Italian or whatever. Let's go to some other place that we're gonna go to. I'm not gonna.
Oh gosh, what an analogy.
But like, let's
That's
go
the
somewhere
spicy
else.
meatball.
Let's take let's take a detour. Let's go to that Asian fusion place or like whatever. And then they go there and you eat it and you're like, that was good. That was good. That was good. And then you don't go back there for like 3 months. Like that's what Xbox is. It's just a sideshow.
And that's what Nintendo is too. Like you just check in with Nintendo every 6 months. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you're playing all your third party. You're playing Stellar Blade on Switch.
I don't need to.
I'm playing that Princess Peach
Showdown, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Princess Peach Showdown.
It is. So again, that's an interesting point, Lono, about Game Pass.
What is what is this little event? Drawn to the work follows
or whatever that breakdown is. If you buy Diablo 4 on your PlayStation, Microsoft's making money, right? If you buy Call of Duty on your PlayStation or your PC. So again, their business is what they care about. And whether Game Pass is 30% of that revenue and cloud streaming.
Oh wait, there's external
streaming could survive being
external Dark Seeker.
They have so much ways to subsidize it since that architecture's already been used for so many other
I don't know what just happened there. Think Energy's pulsating.
Services and subscriptions. I just don't think they see themselves as a PlayStation does, and no one's kind of sees themselves as a Nintendo. Nintendo does their own thing with technology. Nintendo themselves has said we don't see ourselves as a tech company.
Oh
we see
shoot!
Ourselves as a toy company, and that's why they'll take.
Whoa!
They call
why are you hitting so hard?
Yoko coined this when they made the Game Boy, but they say lateral thinking with technology, weather technology, meaning technology that's been around, it's been proven, and it's affordable, but let's use it in a new, innovative way. That's why Nintendo continues to have a lot of success consistently. Let's not talk about the Wii U, but I think it's still sold more than the Asus ROG Ally. But it does that because it sells it at an affordable price point. It sells something that everyone could experience. The Switch didn't need to have 4K.
Right.
Less than like 40% of people had a 4K at that point in time. And I think just over 50% have it now. Like Nintendo does its own thing, and they don't really have to worry, I think, too much about anyone else. And I think Xbox is trying to pivot themselves as their own thing too. And that very well may be 30 years from now, they're not making consoles. I don't know. But
probably
they're
not
going away as a gaming business at this point.
Oh, they just in here like so we is Xbox or is Microsoft in gaming? Are they just here just to exist?
Yeah.
I mean, they're
And
making lots of
just
money
to
from
exist?
gaming.
Well, Phil Spencer sees their relevancy as a company tied to gaming. And I kind of think he's right. Like, I think as great gaming continues to grow, it become more endemic to daily life. Like, it's just a part of what we do. It's on cell phones. I think, again, they want to see that the TV inroad and the PC potential growth for that market. We see other companies, PlayStation's like, hey, we're going to look more into PC. Now, people are twisting it and saying, oh, they're going to go day and date. Maybe by the time Spider-Man 3 comes out, they'll do day and date because at that point in time, they've established that digital library loyalty with all the PS5 owners, and there's no risk in somebody being like, well, I'm going to switch to PC for Spider-Man 3. I don't think that would happen. And they're seeing that revenue and saying, we need to go over there because that's a big market. That's a big place to go make money. So I think Microsoft sees that relevancy in gaming being intertwined with cloud and with that we're going to be everywhere. Satya said, like, we are everywhere. That's the goal of Microsoft. Gaming is an arm of that. And that's how they maintain their relevancy in the market. That's why it was kind of easy to believe they were going to change it to Microsoft Gaming. I don't think they will, but I'm like, that's so Microsoft to be like, you're not Xbox anymore. You're Microsoft Gaming. Like the ego of their corporate thinking. And I think that's how they look at gaming. That's why they've not been good at creative because they're good at software. Software is not creative, it's utilitarian. And I think that's why a lot of their policies with contracts and the fact that a lot of their great games, they bought them, right? They don't foster creative with look at what look at what they allowed happen to 343 and Halo.
Yeah.
I said yesterday, they should have treated Halo like a Fabergé egg. They should have held it with reverence and protected it and funneled money and studios at it. And instead,
Preach, Lono.
they
Preach,
let
Lono.
the multiplayer launch in a beta. And it's like, what? That's not
For
how
like
you
a
treat
year,
your big
a beta for a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine if Nintendo did that with one of their big properties, or imagine if God of War Horizon came out and was just a buggy disaster mess, and we learned that half the studio was on contract and leaving. We'd be angry. We'd be like, why would you treat your big valuable property that way? That's why I was so mad about the
what
last
Factions was going to be. That's why
Right.
they cut
Well,
it. Because
The Last of
it's
Us port.
damage control. It's brand protection.
The
Yeah,
Last of Us port to PC. I took him to task for that. I'm like, this is not how you treat your property, PlayStation. This is embarrassing. Where's the ownership? They were trying to capitalize on the popularity of the TV show. That was a giant mistake. And I can't see PlayStation making that mistake again. That's why they canceled Factions. But Xbox is just happy to launch Forza Motorsport before it's ready. And the user scores are abysmal because of it. And it's just like, that's my concern. It's like, they own a lot of property and they don't handle it very well. And if they want to start doing this, like taking property over to PlayStation, they better wait a year because they're going to have to get the games in better state if they want to do it.
You know, I could easily see Xbox ruining all this IP. Like, I don't want that. And I don't think that's what's going to happen. But to your point, Lono, that is a good point. Like, culture wise, they've not yet figured out how to maintain that creative ideal that you need in software development separate from game development. And
Some deep
Sony does that
conversation
great.
here.
Sony has that culture. Nintendo has that culture.
Yeah, I haven't
Nintendo
played
has
Xbox.
its
See,
own
I've been a
culture.
big
They have tons
Xbox.
of
Well,
tradition there too.
so I
Microsoft
first
needs
started
to figure
out
that out.
with
But the weird thing is their system
PlayStation,
behemoth,
and
even if they
then
don't. If Call of Duty puts out the same Call of Duty for the
eventually,
next 20 years,
pretty
that's probably going to
much
make money, right?
was strictly
And
an
it is
Xbox
one of those
person.
things where
Like I
people,
think I think it was
it's a
PlayStation
double-edged
One,
sword to a
PlayStation
position.
Two,
They don't
and then
necessarily
that's
have
when
to
I got my. I think it was
prioritize
Xbox
quality or innovation as
360,
much as they have
if
to
not my
just
mistaken.
let's use our existing infrastructure and get our stuff
And
everywhere. It is cloud and all that stuff, which is innovative, but nothing what you're probably going to see from a
then
Nintendo or a
started
Sony
playing. I think it was
from
Call of
a
Duty 4, which is so
hardware
kind of
moving
crazy
forward
to think about
specifically.
how
It's
long ago
math
that
like this
was.
because you know
And
a lot of
yeah,
these
pretty
games
much
you
been
think about
Xbox ever
like
since
what's
then.
going on with BDO.
But
They were cranking these games out, and these games were good games.
it was
But
Xbox
for whatever reason, the
360. Was it Xbox
switched up,
One? I think it was
and
Xbox
now
One
we've had pretty much the heads of
was
all
the
of those
last
studios
Xbox that I
represented
had,
all
and
of
I
a
wanted
lot
the
of
new
the
Xbox,
developers and
but
stuff like that.
I was never
So
able
it's
to get
going to
my
be
hands
interesting
on
to
one,
see
and then
how Call of
I got a
Duty
PC, and
evolves over the
it's
next
just kind of
iteration
like,
or two.
But hopefully
yeah,
they're all
PC is
getting
like
some
holding my
big old
beer, you
fat
know, like
paychecks because they had
Parachute.
well, not just
kind of comes
parachutes, but
nowhere
also
close to it
felt
in
like
terms of
stock
performance and
options. You know, all of a
graphics
sudden
and
you just got a
you know
big old check,
what you can
especially if
do.
you've been taking a part of that, and then you as a developer who says, now I got the money that I want to go make the game that I've always wanted to make but couldn't. Like that. That's where I think we see
Immortals
innovation.
of Avium.
Skull and Bones.
I don't know why, if anybody was thinking that those games are going to be good, because it's just like, okay, I'm going to be over here playing fun games.
Well, I'll be honest. I sometimes I ask myself that about developers too. It's like, are you paying attention to the market, to what gamers are actually wanting to play and stuff like that, or are you just making a game that you think that they want one to
It
play?
depends on publishers.
Well,
Go ahead, Lona.
We forget
I
how
was
long
gonna
it takes to
say-
make games.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, I think people look at Kill the Justice League and they forget, like, that game was in development for a really long time. And if it would have dropped at, like, 2019 at the height of Fortnite, people would have been like, this is
Ooh.
awesome. Well, I also think if it would have been built by Gearbox, people would be worshiping it instead of shredding it because they're like, this isn't what we wanted from Rocksteady. Like, if that was
Yeah.
a Gearbox game, it would be reviewed completely differently. But that's a whole
Well,
side.
Gearbox would have made that game better too because they're really good at looter shooters.
Well,
So-
people would have expected the loot table to grind and the simplicity of it. They wouldn't have expected, like, the Rocksteady,
Yeah.
impact system and combat system.
Same thing with BioWare and Anthem. I get where you're going
The
with it.
point being that the trends change so fast. I said it last night. Everybody's trying to jump on extraction PvPvE. Everybody's adding that to the
Yeah.
game, and like that's the next trend. And guess what? You're going to oversaturate the market.
Yeah.
There'll be
Yep.
2 or 3 gold star games that rise, and everybody else will die. And that's the problem with trend chasing. Like,
Yep.
when you look and you're like, well, this is what the market's doing. Let's do that. I think that's what The Last of Us Online did. I think they said, we can do that. Our mode is so good and successful. We can go out in the market and do what Fortnite's doing. And as time went on, it was like Bungie took one look at it and said, you don't know what it takes to maintain an ongoing live service game.
Yeah.
And that's why the Helldivers devs are right now scrambling to hire more people because they went way past expectations. Sony buys them before the summer. Write it down. I guarantee they're going to scoop them up and give them the funding they need because that game can go places. I think it's got massive potential.
Oh, agreed.
And there's no PvP. which
And
is- I think-
they don't
I
want to
think-
add PvP.
I
Like,
think
thank
people
goodness.
are already exhausted with PvP, with PvE elements, extraction shooters. Like, I don't think people
Gonna-
want a lot more games.
I'm
that
going to
like
push
that.
back on that there's no PvP. This is one of my like pet peeves within gaming. PvP doesn't necessarily mean me shooting at you. It's some form of competition, and they give you stats at the end of it, like Smash Brothers, right? So it's like who got the most kills,
No, that's
bragging
not
rights.
PvP.
That's not
Yeah,
PvP.
Competition.
You could still compete against each other.
That's what the
Whatever.
devs call it. The
All right,
Suicide Squad
whatever.
has the same thing.
Nah,
PvP
that's-
means competitive.
I know what it means, but I'm saying that
multiplayer.
you don't need that when you also have any kind of competitive element brought in. And so I always kind of say, yeah, I would define that still in a way of PvP. Who could perform the best? Who can do this and that and more? And because the game tracks your stats, for me as somebody who's a baseball nerd, I'm all about it. It doesn't have to be like, a real fist grinder. It usually is more like funny and fun. Like, oh man, did you see I got the most team kills? Not sorry. It's like
It's an interesting point to talk about the innovation in gaming and where it's going to come from. And I think that's why Arrowhead has 100 employees, a company that size. That's where you're going to see an innovative game that impresses and doesn't chase the trends. Because all these larger companies like the Activisions, a Warner Brother owned developer, there's so many internal incentives to push after these trends. They have giant staffs, they have giant teams, and they have to go all out on these things, and it does take a longer time. And Reggie Fils-Aimé, I think, said this a few months ago too, is that you're going to see the innovation from the teams. All these fat checks for that, all that stuff, they're going to
losing 'em.
leave. They're going to leave, and then they're going to probably start their own dev firms too that are smaller, and they're going to be able to work on that passion project and create something new and innovative as well. So there is a benefit to that. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand how the heck you call Skull and Bones a quad A game. This seems like what is, I don't, at first it's like, oh, they're doing something really unique. Let me see
Guys,
what it
we
is.
have a podcast Monday. Stop.
Well, that's why you should never get drunk and do an interview because that's the only way I
That's
can
right.
believe that he said that. Like, why
Yeah.
would you say that sentence? You know that's just a joke, like a quad A game.
it's the same thing.
Ubisoft is
It's
a joke. Did you watch their
Hey.
summer games?
Nice. All right.
I love them. I'm part of
They're
the
coming back.
program.
They're
I'm
Well,
part
I
of the
got
program.
3
I
embers
love
at a time.
Ubisoft. I am a memeable
1.
Ubisoft fan. I'm not
I
a
just think
pony
you're
or an
memeable.
Xbox.
Not bad, I
fan.
guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this whole podcast proves that, right, Lona?
I think
it-
Ubisoft.
I got 28 of those. It's kinda
Yes.
crazy.
Yes, I'm just saying their messaging
Oh
is
yeah, don't let him do that. That was a
it's rough, dude.
Why did they
Like
let
in
him-
the best way. Like I loved that
Yeah.
conference. That conference reeked of like Mr. Caffeine era E3 of them just being like, you want to drive in the Lamborghini like with Motorfest, and then just like the way they
So
showed off
7100
Star
trash.
Wars and, dude, I love Ubisoft, and it's for all the wrong reasons. But
I
yeah,
want-
they're
Well, I mean,
I want to give everybody an opportunity if there's
not
anything
bad, I
else
guess.
kind of talk about because we are over kind of usually shoot for these